It is important to state what the purpose of a police agency is. In a democracy, law enforcement is one of the most humane of all services, for its prime function is the protection of the people. It may sound elementary, but it is essential always to bear in mind the goals of a police agency, for they are twofold. The obvious, the prevention of crime, is but one of them. The other goal is the protection of life, property, and the freedom of the individual. Prevention and protection. These two basic goals are equally important. They go hand in hand. They complement and supplement each other. In a free society, the one cannot exist without the other. To accomplish these goals, police are vested with specific authority that is derived from the sovereign power of the state. There are today approximately 40,000 police agencies of various sizes in this country, ranging from a department of almost 28,000 men down to many which have only one or a handful of officers. But no matter what the size, the immediate concern of every enforcement officer is the same: to enforce the law impartially, without regard to race, creed, or color. So this becomes your concern. You must bear this in mind at all times, whether you are on patrol or no matter what assignment you have, whether it be issuing a simple summons or apprehending a flagrant offender. But important also when you are merely in ordinary and casual contact with citizens. This is Officer John Gearman. For the next 20 minutes, he's going to be you as he performs his duties in accordance with the law and departmental regulations. He will be you when his actions are correct. He will be you when he is in doubt and needs advice, or when he needs assistance. He will be you on different occasions and locations, and not just for a day, but over a period of time. So identify yourself with him, for he could be you. You have an important job to do, for you are the eyes and ears of the police department. You must know the law, not only in theory, but in practice. It is your duty to prevent crime and disorder of any kind. And it is your duty to reduce the number of favorable opportunities for crimes to occur. Equally important, it is your job to communicate necessary information to your immediate superior. There is hardly an incident calling for police action that does not involve communication of some kind. And this is the nerve center for police operations. Citizens' complaints, anonymous tips on crimes, your own duty calls, and calls for information and direction are received around the clock. They are channeled to the appropriate police units for action, information, study, and research. In this way, lines of communication are firmly established, ensuring proper direction. It is important that you always bear in mind the lines of command. They are essential to the efficient operation of a well-organized agency. In fact, it is similar to any successful business operation. However, it does not mean that there is no lateral communication between the various police units, but this is the responsibility of your superiors. Your responsibility is to follow the chain of command. That is, to report to and take orders from your immediate superior. Never bypass him except when he is unavailable and an emergency situation arises wherein direction is needed. Let's say at this point in your career you are assigned to the patrol unit. But you happened by the store just then and gave assistance. An attempted holdup, but the detective caught the felon. Now, in spite of rules and regulations, he orders you to take the prisoner to headquarters. So you try to tell him you have other orders. He won't listen. He outranks you. So what can you do? If there ever was a conflicting order, this is it, and you know it. Later, your patrol sergeant asks what happened, so the detective tells him, and that clears you all right. But it violated an important principle of police organization, unity of command. When orders conflict, confusion can result. From confusion, misunderstandings, irresponsibility, policing at cross purposes, even potentially dangerous situations, and an opportunity for criminal actions. The book says areas of responsibility with clear-cut channels of communication and authority. What that means is the different kinds of police work are handled by different units, and authority is delegated from the chief of police to the head of each unit and then down through the ranks. It means that orders come from the top down, and your reports go back the same way. There is, of course, a limit to the number of subordinates any one officer, be he chief or sergeant, can effectively supervise. That is what is known as span of control. This varies according to circumstances and also is related to the personal ability of the executive. The division heads are in frequent consultation with each other, and that is part of their job. They have years of training and experience behind them. Operating under this scheme of things, there is that very important principle called unity of command. That means that each man in the police agency is under the direct control of one and only one immediate superior. Now you know the organization that backs you up on patrol duty or any other kind of duty, for each unit is set up to perform a distinct function. You can cover more ground on a scooter, of course, but that isn't the whole point. You go past the same places more often, and just by being seen more often, you help to discourage the opportunity for crime that much more. And it serves to give the law-abiding citizen that much more of a feeling of police service and security. An important aspect of your job is educating the public through explaining and enforcing laws and ordinances. An infraction of the law often can be inadvertent, as in this case, through a misunderstanding. If, however, it is the action of a habitual offender, then stronger measures are called for. You never know whether this is for real or just accidental, but you play it safe in any event. The protection of yourself as well as of property goes with your job. It turns out the alarm was tripped accidentally, and you're as glad of that as the owner is. If you'd suspected real trouble from the outside, you could have radioed for assistance. Communication is at the heart of a well-integrated police agency. That is why you keep in touch all the time. You report the incident and see if there are any orders for you. Seems like some days you keep finding kids who get lost, and there are other days you might call bicycle days. This time it wasn't lost, but stolen. It's a frequent complaint, but this time the mother has spotted her son's bike, or so she says. The kid has a pretty good story to back him up. Anyway, it's nothing you can settle, so you call into the Juvenile Aid Division and ask them to dispatch a car to take them down to headquarters. Each police division has its own area of jurisdiction. This is what makes for a smoothly running organization, one that can best take care of the needs as well as the troubles of the community. The officers in this bureau have special aptitude for youth work and understand juvenile problems. The prevention of delinquency and the measures taken to keep it from escalating to major crimes is a big part of their function. You've probably wondered about the top. You know there is a chief and other brass, but you rarely get to see them at work. The chief has periodic meetings with his immediate subordinates. This serves to implement the unity of command. Through the unit commanders, all units are brought into a harmonious working relationship with each other, eliminating possible misunderstanding and friction. On occasion, a special situation arises, such as a large parade or a visiting dignitary who needs special consideration or protection. In the case here, it is the incidence of an unusual number of burglaries concentrated in one area. At this moment, the captain of detectives is bringing the burglaries to the attention of the chief. The captain has received this information from the lieutenant from the sergeants, and the sergeants from patrolmen like you. Recommendations for combating these burglaries will be worked out by certain staff members and the line personnel involved, in this case the patrol and detective units, and then brought to the chief for approval and implementation. Planning is the primary function of staff personnel. They have no direct authority over line units. Tackling these burglaries is called a tactical problem in crime control. This can involve research, suggested changes in line procedure, even emergency operations. But there is more to staff than that. Staff personnel perform any of the functions that are the responsibility of administration. It reports up to the chief. They work hand in hand with line units. It may not look like it, yet the staff is just as much in the thick of things as you are. A police agency cannot do without them. Chances are, these motorized days, that you will make your rounds in a patrol car. So you get a call, a complaint of a disturbance, a family row, and you head for the address. Your partner is also a patrolman, same rank, same job. Who's the boss? Who makes the decisions? The answer is, normally the man with seniority, because he's had more experience. You can't exactly be a referee in these matters, and on many occasions you really don't want to give a summons or make an arrest every time someone disturbs the peace. When patrols were mostly on foot, you got to know the people along your beat. That could often lead to complications or too much bending of the law on occasions. But in a way, it was good because the people got to know you, got to know what a good officer was like, and felt that he was around most of the time. This way, though, you can cover more ground.
You want some coins there? Come on now, baby needs some pair of shoes. Let's go.
7. 207. 207. 207. You're covered.
2 more, no 7.
Right.
2 more, no 7.
Laws must be enforced with vigilance. Your most frequent decision is to know when you should make an arrest. When you do, remember you must state that you intend to make one, the reason for it, and the authority.
There it is. It's got to be. 207.
There no 7's on your face, man.
Anything, name it, I got it. Big 8.
And above all, remember that if you have to use some measure of force, use only that amount that is necessary to make the arrest. The chief has approved the suggested plan for combating the rash of burglaries. It involves some changes in procedure as to patrols, surveillance, and temporary assignment of unfamiliar faces to the plainclothes detail. The captains are briefed in the plan, and now it is up to them. No chance of cross purposes, no chance of misunderstanding. Each unit knows the assignment it must carry out. It is personnel that is the organization, people of various ranks and degrees of responsibility. From captains to lieutenants, to sergeants and patrolmen, all are informed of the new procedures. No one is working in the dark. Each one has his assigned duties and responsibilities. And finally, your part of the big overall plan reaches you. For a few days, you are assigned to help the detective unit because your face is unfamiliar in that neighborhood. You, the patrolman, are always the eyes and ears of the police. It isn't an easy job, but it isn't a thankless one. Your service is to and for the people. Often you are caught in the crossfire between the obligation to bring offenders to justice and the obligation not to violate constitutional rights. Such is your great responsibility.